when last you guys were here on Rime of the Frostmaiden, you guys had found yourselves in the town of Goodmead. You started in East Haven, where you learned about several things going on. Since it's been a couple of weeks, I'll rehash just a little bit of what's happening in the world right now. The northern part of the world, known as the Icewind, has become isolated over the last couple of years by what seemingly is a never-ending winter, locked in basically a world of ice and snow, cut off from the rest of civilization. The mountain passes through the spine of the world. The mountains that divide the Icewind from the rest of the continent have become nigh impassable, and to the north, the sea of moving ice has become locked and difficult for ships to pass. Supplies, food, scarce. The caravans that make it through are carrying less and less and able to bring less and less stuff. Most of the people here are surviving on fishing for knucklehead trout and trapping the few animals that they can in glacial conditions. In the city of East Haven, you had learned about a series of murders that had been happening that were on the talk of the town throughout basically the entire Icewind. The region known as the 10 Towns, each of which has a speaker that meets in the largest of them, Bryn Shander. You were in probably the second largest East Haven. The murders happening with daggers of ice stabbed through the heart of the victims. A adventurer, former adventurer, retired adventurer, by the name of someone that probably doesn't matter because I don't even know if you're ever going to do this or not. By the name of Hillen Trollbane, hired you for the price of a few hundred gold to go and take care of the problem. A man that she claimed was named Sefik Keltro that was committing the murders, following a band of traveling merchants around by the name of Torgas. You'd learned from the village guard and from asking around that they were heading through Bryn Shander up to the town of Bremen. You haven't heard much else about it. And talking with the captain of the guard, you learned that local fishermen had gone missing. They're not able to sail their boats out of East Haven's harbors, but they're able to walk them along the coast of the lakes and basically sort of ice fish. You learned that shipments of mead heading to the local bars had stopped coming, and there were rumors of giant attacks. Investigating that, you found that the city of Goodmead had been attacked by a creature by the name of a Verbeeg, which was something of an ogre / giant that had taken the honey mead for itself. Tracking it back to its lair, you dealt with the Verbeeg named Doug and his ogre friend named Friend, and his cave bear named Agbor. And managed to trundle back to town, carrying a cart with the honeymead with some goats. You then dealt with the Verbeeg's mate that had found him dead and took her revenge upon the town. When last we left, Toot had viciously mocked the creature who was planning on attacking and fleeing and continuing to come back in the night, killing various villagers. Through your actions, a couple of human guards and a couple of civilians in the town are dead on the streets. Toot, just before being killed, was rescued by a firebolt cast by the hand of your faithful wizard friend, Yatara. And bleeding out on the snow, Cadillac Granite Guts rushed over and laid on hands, healing Toot before he could pass into the darkness. And that is where we're going to find ourselves, in the cold, icy streets of Goodmead in the middle of the night. And I'll take you all there. Toot, you cough a bit, brought yourself to life, came back to life, and as you were there, a man sauntered up who had introduced himself by the name of Markin, and he told you that he'd come on around here from the nearby town to the west. And he said he saw that you all had slain said giant, and that he knew this was a good idea, and praised the gods that he was here. And I'll tell you what he has told you. He told you that, and you guessed correctly, he had come from the nearby western town of Dugan's Hole, where he had slipped out of town. He says, well, the town is besieged by a couple of wolves who done started talking real smart and got a real good vocabulary. They's done kidnapped a couple of people. And he says, they've kidnapped Sil, S-I-L, and her brother Finnith, and they's demanding tribute of food to the town, else Sil and Finnith's gonna get it, basically. And ain't nobody allowed to leave except for Markin. He was smart enough to sneak away and manage to get out. And says, Dugan Hole's in real need of sturdy warriors such as yourselves, what can kill giants and all. That's amazing. And that's where we find you guys, with Markin standing there. Toot, you're on the ground, coughing up, I think, blood, just sort of back and sort of heavily breathing. Ordella, you were sort of passed out through this, staying in the, you had been staying in the house of the one person in town that you really knew, the ancestor of the founders of the town, Olivessa Untapor, who was begrudgingly being urged to take the role of the new speaker of town after the former speaker, Kendrick Reelsparrow, had passed away. I think in the action and the commotion of the fight and near death of Toot, Ordella, you probably aroused and have made your way outside, seeing this sort of grisly scene on the ground. The fallen Verbeeg and Toot down on the ground with a spear basically still like almost lodged in him. Cadillac sort of hovering over top, and Leonard and Harcus standing by, Guitarra, who had just blasted the killing blow, in the sort of to the side. What does everyone do?
I'll rush out there and see what's going on and see how Toot is.
Toot's definitely alive, but not looking great. He's got a few HP. Cadillac is tending to his wounds. The body of this giant woman is lying there. And Markin walks up and says, well, I'll be plumb tootin' darned if he's not a bird person. I ain't never seen one of them before.
So while I'm helping Toot, I turn around and say, I've never seen a wolf that can kidnap people before. How exactly does that work?
Well, that's a ding darn good darn question. But and he thinks about it for a minute and says, Wolf said something and I didn't quite make to understand it. He's got a real good vocabulary.
So Toot's still laying on the ground, and he's just gonna roll his head over and look up and say, I know I just got my bell rung, but did you say the wolf said something?
Oh yeah, they done talks. Big as horses they is.
I'm gonna reach my hand up, and I think Ordella's over me, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna hope that Ordella helps pull me up off the ground. Okay.
Leonard and Harcus, what are you guys doing in the off to the side as Markin has made his way over? What about you, Leonard?
I'm gonna move up to this guy and just eye him suspiciously to try to figure out, is he really a person?
Roll perception.
Because I've never seen anybody like this before. This does not track with what I expect from humanity.
In what way?
He's dumb. He talks different.
Yeah. Okay.
He
All right,
looks
so
different.
16. He definitely looks like person. Roll me insight. He's a little bit, with a 16, he's a little bit deformed looking. Like he's not a very like pretty person. His face is a little bit asymmetrical, and he does talk real funny like. And when you with an 8 insight, the only thing you get is that he's dumb. He is not. He's dumb. You think he's talking about talking wolves, and you're not sure if he's like if they're really talking or if he's just like fooled by
Right.
some sort
That's what I was trying to figure out.
of, is he being fooled by some sort of illusion? Like maybe someone's pulled the wool over his eyes.
But he at least does not seem. He seems sincere, like he believes what
With
he's
an 8,
saying.
you
As far as I can tell,
he's dumb.
he's dumb. All right.
So you don't know. If you want with an 8, what your insight is you believe him, like he's not lying, or you can't okay, with an insight roll you're trying to detect is he lying. You can't detect if he is lying.
Okay. All right. So as far as I know,
yep,
he's telling the truth.
As far as you know, he's telling the truth.
All right.
And he looks over at Toot, who's being helped up by Ordella, and he says, "Well, I'm glad you're okay and off the ground."
Toot just looks at him, doesn't say anything.
Yeah. Carcass, what are you doing?
Basically ignoring the bumpkin, and I'm walking over to this thing and I'm searching it for things that it might have, including more fur.
Okay. It's got some ratted furs on it. There are 2 spears that are very large, but you could probably wield them. So you can mark spear.
Okay.
2 spears. And it has a little bit of some random items on there. There are 2 agates, each worth 10 gold pieces. And there is a satchel of what looks like maybe beer or wine or something like that, like a water skin that is filled with some sort of fermented liquid.
That I'm definitely taking.
Yep. You got it. Did I just see Eldritch Cannon?
Yes, you did.
Do you have a gun? Are you like, I cast gun?
Somebody's very upset they didn't get the loot.
I have 3 flavors of gun I can cast.
Cast magic missile. I cast
Flamethrower,
gun.
Force ballista, or
I
protect.
cast 50 cal.
I cast gun.
Big gun.
All right. Yeah, that's all you find on the body. The agates, the skin filled with fermented liquid, and the 2 spears. And a ratted fur that is basically worthless. What are you doing now, Granite Guts? You've finished laying on hands. Toot is on his feet. Ordella, you're sort of holding Toot as he rose up. Markin is standing next to you all, saying, and he looks over at you all and says, "I bet you all need a rest. It's real cold here. I mean, I ain't got much money, but I could do something if y'all's got a place to. Old Markin could stay, please."
I do think that it is time for a nap after our
Yeah.
mighty battle, and when breakfast rolls around tomorrow, we can talk about the salvation of Dugan's Hole. How does that sound, Markin?
You're using words that I don't really know.
Very good. I clap him on the back and start wandering off towards the nearest
There is
resting
no
location.
There is no inn. You guys had all stayed in the house of Olivessa Untapor. Are you just like walking back to her house?
I think I am. I'm really tuckered.
Markin's just gonna follow with you. Like he's just following behind you if you're walking back to Olivessa's house.
Dude's gonna lean on Ordella for support.
You're able to sort of like limp back there.
And a wild Jonathan appears.
All right. And now Hawkins has to completely rearrange the layout. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot it's Wednesday.
No worries. You haven't
really
missed
rough
much.
week.
I'm sorry. Well, this will make up for it. You'll have a good time. If you're on D&D Beyond, while everybody else is sort of role-playing here, you can level up to level 3 if you haven't already done so. Basically, Toot is alive. Markin came up and has begged your help from Dugan's Hole. He told you that the town of Dugan's Hole has been besieged by winter wolves that have kidnapped, or by wolves that apparently can talk and have a real darn good vocabulary. And they're demanding tribute of food, or else the children that have been kidnapped, they're going to get it. At least this is what Markin is telling you. And they have locked the town down. People can't come out, can't go. And he basically escaped, made his way over in the night, made his way over here to Goodmead, and then he saw you guys fighting and finally beat this giant thing. And he's like, Shazam, Shazam, Shazam! Heroes that can beat giants. I bet them could take care of them wolves. And came up and begged your help, basically. And now Cadillac is walking back to Olivessa's house that you crashed in. And Markin is just following. He's just following behind as you're walking back to Olivessa's house. Is everybody else going to Olivessa's house?
Yeah.
I think so.
Leonard needs a rest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get Toot out of the cold.
All right. Let me get you guys back there. Who is all right, you guys make it over to Olivessa's house. And I think Granite Guts is in the lead here. And the door is closed, locked, and sealed up. The rumors of attacks, people have sort of like locked themselves in and sealed up for the evening. I'll bring you to that scene. And it's still dark outside. I should put a lock on the door here. I'll do that. There you go. Door is closed. There are a couple of windows. Granite Guts, what do you do?
I go straight into the living room and collapse in front of the fire.
The door is closed and locked.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're outside of
Locks
Olivessa's
do not
house, and
apply to him.
the door is closed and locked. So do you just reach
Granite-
up and try the lock?
Granite Guts is realigning layouts in OBS is what Granite Guts is really doing. Granite Guts.
You just
Granite
tell me
Guts,
what you're doing.
Granite Guts bangs on the door.
All right. Granite Guts bangs on said door.
Yeah.
And
It says the battle's over.
Olivessa opens the door before you, and she appears right before you and at the door, and she says, "Oh my, you're back. Is it done? What happened?" And I think behind you, Granite Guts, is Markin. Shows up right behind you. And he's like been following right behind you, and he looks over at Olivessa and goes, "They done killed it!" And she looks up at you, and she says, Who is that?" And he says, "Markin." And she takes one good look at his face. And I think at this point, Olivessa, you've now made your way over to the door, and Toot and Guitarra and basically everybody else has made their way. Carcass accidentally drug you off the screen, but made your way up, and she takes one look at his face, and she says, Dugan's Hole? And he goes, how'd you guess? And she looks at you, Granite Guts, and says, I don't think this is a good idea. And she goes, fine. Don't let him like mess in the corner or anything, please. And she moves out of the way and says, come in. Is it really dead? And invites you all into the house. So what do you guys do?
I'd take Toot over to the sofa or first bed or something I come to and kind of pop him down gently.
Yeah, you lay Toot down on the sofa in the room. Granite Guts, you're in there. Harcus, do you just go and roll up in the
I'm
roll up in the rug?
rolling back in the rug.
As you do that, Olvessa's watching, and she says, Mr. Harcus, we're not sacrificing warmth tonight. It's not the time of sacrifice. I can keep the fire burning. You don't need to. Please, you're getting Verbeeg blood on my rug.
I just roll up in it anyway.
She just sort
That's
of like
his thing. Let it happen.
She puts her hand in her palm and just sort of okay.
And after I get rolled in there, I'm just gonna take 2 of those gold pieces I pulled off that stinky thing and flip them out.
She looks at it and thanks you. She says, well, thank you very much. Markin walks in and he puts his arm around her shoulder and goes, this is a real nice place you got here. Where's Markin sleeping?
On the front porch. Creeper vibes.
She just sort of looks over and says, just make yourself at home. And she kind of moves into her bedroom, and I think she just like closes the door,
Locks it.
you hear
Barricades it.
you hear a click.
Multiple clicks.
Yatara, what are you doing anything? Are you coming into the same room? I've not made that character choice for you.
Yeah, I'm coming to the same room. I'm actually going to saunter over to Cadillac and hover over him and then kick him and then curl up beside him like I normally do.
Is Cadillac already like snoring with his
I
beard
am.
sucking
Of
in his
course he
mouth?
is.
I am sound asleep, inhaling my beard and blowing it right back out. I'm sound asleep.
Cadillac already needs a CPAP.
Mhm.
The moose head that's right beside me on the wall is sort of rattling a little bit.
All right. Is anybody keeping watch, or y'all just going to rest?
No, I'm just gonna rest.
I guess
the
I'll
first
keep
6
watch
hours.
since I was somewhat rested before.
Okay. Is anybody going to help Olvessa?
I'll take a
Or
rest.
Della.
I'm okay.
Or Della? I'm sorry. Of Olvessa or Della, too many O's.
I think Toot's already taken his watch and shit went down. He's already asleep.
Toots out. All right.
Yeah.
I'll take second
It's
watch.
after midnight, so I only need 2 watches.
I'll take second.
Okay. And I'm going to roll dice actually here on the table. So that's a good thing. Good. All right. The night passes without any events, and you guys wake up, and the next day has come. It is morning now, so I'll change the lighting structure here.
So we're no longer officially exhausted, correct?
You regain 1 level of exhaustion. 1 level of exhaustion is regained. So, like for example, Granite Guts, you had 2 levels of exhaustion. Now you're only level 1 exhausted. Anybody that was level 1 exhausted is now no longer exhausted.
So in my second watch, could I have inspected the inscriptions that are wrote
Yes.
down on my
Yes, absolutely.
rest pad to see if I can determine what they any meaning for them?
Yeah, you absolutely can. There are a couple of spell scrolls, and as far as you can tell, they are really, really, really old. One of them is what you can make out to be a scroll of plant growth. Okay. Another one is a scroll of. Actually, I need to double check this real quick. I'm sorry. Have this written down. I want to make sure that it's right. A scroll of plant growth. I told you that one. A scroll of augury. And then a third one that you, third one that is a little bit harder to make out that you're uncertain of. You are sure that it's some sort of like abjuration, maybe, or divination. It's either abjuration or divination, but you're not really certain what that is. So augury, plant growth, and then one other that you're not certain about. The plant growth. Now you can use those spell scrolls if you have a slot that will that can do those. Plant growth is a third level spell, so I don't think you have third level spell slots yet. But when you do have third level spell slots, you can copy that into your book, and that can become one of your spells. Even though I think that's a druid spell.
All right, got it.
And the same thing is also true if you have a spell slot of a level for augury. Augury is a second level spell. At third level, you should have some second level spell slots. So I think you do.
Yes.
So you are able to copy. Yes, you do. At third level, no, not yet. That's at fourth level. No, you're right. Third level, you get second level spells. So you can copy augury into your spell book.
Okay.
And you can cast that one for any slot that you've got. Second level divination, you just get a freebie there. So it's like an extra spell, in addition to the spells that you got at level up. And yeah, that's what you get. There's a third one that you're not certain about. And Granite Guts, you have the spell of speak with plants.
That is true. The spell of plant friendship.
It's almost like some sort of druidic thing, like growing plants, talking to plants. Anyway, morning's come. You guys wake up, and Markin is not there in the room with you. And you hear the sounds of calamity happening in the kitchen. As you sort of are all rousing, you hear a voice calling from around the corner. Hi, everybody. You got all kind of food in here. I'm making breakfast. Come on.
Sounds good to me.
Shortly thereafter, as you hear this, Olvesa comes rushing out, looks into the kitchen and goes, Oh God, what have you done? There's just stuff everywhere. He's making what seems to be some sort of biscuit dish with little fish pieces in it. It's like fish biscuits or something. And it's a colossal mess. He's used every pot and pan, some of them seeming twice. And is roasting them. There should be a little oven in this room. You can't see it there. It's in this little cabinet thing, but he's roasting them in a coal oven. His fish biscuits, and he says, "I found your stuff, and I just thought that Markin would help." And she sort of sighs. Everybody entering the kitchen.
Yes.
Yes,
All
I
right.
think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Seeing all this,
It's a
I'm gonna
disaster.
look over at Markin, and I'm gonna say, I have a lot more trust and faith in my guidance counselor's advice after getting an empty fortune cookie at a restaurant in Waterdeep. And
I don't know what any of them words is meaning.
and I will give him guidance, hoping that this is edible.
Wasting your time.
Yeah, he doles out plates, and Olvesa says, "Well, kitchen's a disaster. Half of my grain is gone, but if it's made, we might as well eat." And beckons everyone to sit down, and she actually takes you into the dining room next door to eat. And Markin doles out fish biscuits. I'm going to roll a d20 plus your guidance, plus Markin's intelligence
Oh god.
to see how well he can cook a fish biscuit.
Oh, wow.
He crit.
Wow.
That's the best fish biscuit ever.
minus 1. His
Plus a
intelligence is
D4.
minus 1 plus a d4. Markin rolls a 21 on his fish biscuit cooking. You don't know how this idiot has done it.
He
But
can
has
do
made-
one thing well.
He can do one damn thing. And he can make a damn fish biscuit. It's absolutely delicious. Everybody can take inspiration that has eaten fish biscuit.
Oh,
Okay.
sweet.
The fish biscuit is so good, you feel inspired. Take inspiration.
That's wonderful.
Olvesa even looks at him and says, "I don't know how you did that. I saw what you did in there, and this makes no sense. I don't. You're cleaning this up." He says, "But we gotta get back to Dugan's hole." And she looks at him and says, No, you gotta clean this up." What's everybody doing?
Eating.
You're not eating. It's morning time in Goodmead.
I guess I'm ready to hit the road for whatever we're doing.
Well, Markin has asked for help in Dugan's Hole. You know about
Well, yeah, I just couldn't remember what he needed help from.
they're wolves,
The horse wolves.
Yeah.
horse wolves that done
Horse
talking.
wolves that talked. I got, yep. It's
Don't feel
Obligation
obligated.
of-
Don't feel obligated to go to Dugan's Hole. There's murders happening in Bryn Shander. Or somewhere. There's
Thanks
Fisherman's-
for biscuits. We're going the other way.
thanks for the biscuits. Wait a minute, them biscuits was the binding contract. You ate my
But-
fish biscuits. I can't believe you'd run out
And they
on
were
me.
great. Thanks. Bye.
I guess you could.
Okay, first things first, I'm going to help him clean up the kitchen so that we can get out
Wow.
of here wherever we're
Okay,
going.
seeing someone else do it. Leonard was not going to be the first one to help clean because he's a robot. He feels like that's expected. But since someone else did it, Leonard will help.
Okay, Leonard is insisting because he didn't. It was a racist trope, and he's like, I'm not-
He doesn't want to uphold stereotypes that just because he can clean and fix things, he shouldn't always be the one who cleans and fixes things.
it takes about an hour.
So while that's going on,
Wow.
For the three of you.
wow. While that's going on, I'd like to talk to Olivessa.
Olvesa's periodically like looking in the room and like staring down Markin, and she looks back at you, Toot, and says, I don't like him in here. Listen, Goodmead and Dugan's Hole have never gotten along well. They used to send raiders here to attack us and steal our mead. We tolerate each other well enough, but what's her face? And she sort of thinks about it for a minute. Ed Grubb, she doesn't even come to the speakers meetings. Like, they're barely one of the 10 towns.
I'll just lean over and say it quietly. I'm going to say, if your mother's ever come out of the bathroom and said, y'all come look at this before I flush it, you might be from Dugan's Hole.
She laughs and says, that is definitely something they would say. God, have you been there before?
No, but Jeff Foxworthy has. No, but now that I've got
as you say that, Markin leans in and goes, "My mama did say that."
I'm done for the night. Oh God!
How'd you know?
I've broken Melissa. Okay. But no, like, having made her smile and laugh, I want to turn it to a more serious note, and I'm going to ask her, has she left the house yet, or is she?
She has not. You told her basically what had happened with the Verbeeg and that it attacked town, and she's incredibly grateful that you guys have taken care of the raids. She says, several people have already been killed by the thing, and we're very fortunate for all of them.
I know that you haven't been out, but do you know who was on guard last night?
She looks and she goes, I think it was Frank Nelson and Michael Dupree. And she sort of hangs her head and says, they didn't make it, did they?
2 others didn't either. That they weren't on guard, but
she sort of looks up. She looks up and puts her hands on on your bird shoulders, and she says, Toot, if you guys hadn't stopped it, I think it would have kept on until all of us were gone.
I know, but I feel responsible for their death. I'm very sorry.
I don't think that I would be here if you guys hadn't put a stop to it. It would have just kept coming and coming and coming. And Toot, I got to tell you, heroes don't make their way down to Goodmead all that often. We don't even have an inn to stay at.
You guys need one with a leader like you. You really should take that position. Where was the other person? Where are they now?
He went to go get his posse. You're talking about Shindar.
Yes.
He says, maybe I should. Well, if you vouch for me, I bet the town would have me. And she says, best I can do is I'll think about it. Thank you, dude.
Thank you for your hospitality. And again, I'm very sorry for everything that has happened here.
She says, me too. The world is not right. This place is dying. Something doesn't change if this winter doesn't end. I mean, you've helped us make it. We got through this one. If something doesn't change, I fear we'll all be snuffed out in the cold. And she says, you're headed out now. I take it. Are you going with him? Are you going with him to Dugan's?
I shrug. I kind of giggled though.
She laughs and says, I guess that's what heroes do. They need your help.
Before we leave town, Leonard suggests to everyone that, especially since there's been the fighting over the mead between the Dugan's Hole folks and the Goodmead folks, that maybe we should take some with us in case we need it to get out of a sticky situation.
She says, I'll give you what I have. It's going to take us a 10-day before we can produce another batch. Oh, that's right. You brought it back. Excellent. Yeah, we can fill your skins. We'll see to it. And she takes you over to the mead hall, which I'm not going to drag out the map for the mead hall. She takes you over to the mead hall and announces, she says, these brave warriors, we should call you Toots Crew? What should we call you? I like Toots Crew.
Leonard's boys.
No, that definitely doesn't ring.
So Toot makes a womp 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 sound.
Yeah, I like mine better.
Mhm.
They're
You're
the ones.
Not so good.
They're the ones that saved us all. They brought down that beast that was attacking us in the night. And its mate. And they've returned our mead to us. We owe them our thanks and all the help we can offer. Fill their casks. And I think that Markin is with you, and he goes, yeah, fill me cask.
Not you.
And she glares at him, and he says, sorry. I thought I'd try.
Toot's just gonna speak up and say, if your 2-year-old has more teeth than you do, you might be from Dugan's Hole.
She does. And he smiles, and there's like 3 teeth.
Yeah. But then he's gonna say, on a more serious note, thank you, Olivessa. You've done well here, and we couldn't have done this without you. So the crowd gathered
need
to take credit for that as well.
The crowd gathered around the mead hall kind of issues a little applause at that, and Olivessa just sort of like bashfully kind of grins a little bit. And she says, thank you all. I guess I have to do what I have to do. And she looks over the crowd and says, well, I suppose I should. I'll announce my candidacy for speaker. And several people applaud.
Toot creates a fanfare, like trumpeting sound from his...
And she definitely blushes and is like, please, no, God, no.
I raise my mead skin and say to Olivessa, or not Olivessa, to what's her name again?
You're right. Olivessa.
You're right.
Olivessa. To Olivessa, a fine candidate for leading this village.
And you hear some people in the background say, yeah, where was Shendar when everything was going down? He went to go see his bosses. Running for help, that's what I heard. Yeah. So that happens, and you all are like your water skins and stuff are filled up with mead. And where are you off to?
The Dugan's Hole.
Do we need to bring the goat sleigh for any reason?
Oh no. The goats are half dead.
I don't think that's a good idea.
We ate the goats.
The goats are all over there going.
Speaking of goats, we brought back the dead carcasses, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll look over at Olivessa and say, what did you do with the dead goats? I know that you use them for meat, but where's the rest of them?
We what do you mean the rest? Like the bones?
Yes.
We bury them. You want the bones?
If you buried them, let them be.
Oh, okay. Yeah. She says we keep all of the meat. It's all in cold storage. The your buddy Markin looks over and says, "Well, let me know how it goes in Dugan's Hole."
Oh no. No.
Not how this is going to happen.
He goes, "What? You want me to go back there? I had to sneak out in the night."
Then you can show us how to sneak back in.
Yeah, because if I hear that directions to Dugan's Hole include turning off the paved road.
Well, not that I know of. You just walk down the road and there it is. Fine. Can't believe I'm going back there.
It wasn't a request.
I got the sense of that. Listen, I might not be a smart man, but I am not.
Just don't say it.
I don't know the word.
Exactly.
He hangs his head. Just fine.
Walker County finest.
I'll lead the way.
Walker County's finest.
And as I walk past him, I'm just going to tap him on the shoulder, just pat him on the shoulder and go, "But the biscuits were good."
Thank you. It's my grandpappy's recipe. It's my grandpa. Actually, he says it's my grandpappy and my uncle's recipe.
Same
Do
person.
they work together on it?
One and
No,
the
they're the
same.
same.
Well, I clap him on the shoulder and say, well, your grandpappy uncle would be so proud of you to know that you are bringing heroes to save Dugan's Hole.
Oh. Okay. And you guys head out. Marching, I guess, towards Dugan's Hole. I really did not mean to like railroad you into Dugan's Hole. It was just, this is what's happening.
That's not the first time that statement has been uttered, Jeff.
I'm sorry. I feel like this was railroaded in. I didn't mean it to be.
I can't wait to hear all of the villagers that we'll get to meet in Dugan's Hole. This will be fun.
All right. You guys are on the map here to Dugan's Hole. It is about following the banks of the Red Waters. It's not very far. It's about 5 miles. But the going is pretty tough. And it takes you probably about, I don't know, half a day or so before you arrive in the city of Dugan's Hole. And I'll take you there. With, what's his name? You'll have to zoom way in. So you guys are here on the map. Who is leading us, I guess, besides Markin?
I'll go.
Did anybody else feel a touch of deliverance that's about to happen?
Did I accidentally get that arrow on the screen? I can't get rid of it. That's annoying.
I'm just hoping there's moonshine.
Prepare to be disappointed.
Jeff, I'm looking out for giant talking wolves.
Yeah, you're not seeing any wolves as you enter town. It is a very small little town. There are a bunch of people milling about doing sort of their daily business. And yeah, everybody roll perception. I guess, no, just you. You're looking for wolves. Roll perception. I've accidentally shrunk Yatara to minuscule size.
19 on my wolf perception.
Yeah, no wolves that you can detect. I need to get, what's his face? Got to get Markin with you. There he is. Big Markin.
Good God.
Giant.
Yeah, he's about to shrink. Look at his pretty face. And down you go. Down, boy. He leads you into town. And he comes across a person. He says, "Hey there, Kevin Nith. Hey, how you doing?" And the person looks over and goes, spits a little bit and goes, "I see you's back, Merkin." He goes, "Yeah, I brought back some real adventuring types. They's gonna take care of our little problems here. I hear they's been killing giants. I saw it with my own eyes." And then Kevin says, "Well, suppose if that's the case, you ought to take them to see Edgra." "I don't know about Edgra, but okay, I guess. He says, he turns back to you all and says, Edgar's the speaker of the town, so to speak. She'd know what to do and what we ought to do around these parts. I gotta take care of something. So, I'll meet you over there at Speaker's place and stuff.
How about you walk us over to the...
Be right back. And he ducks. He tries to duck around a building.
I'm gonna reach out and just grab a hold of him as he tries.
Roll dexterity, trying to grab him.
Let's see here.
He's gonna roll a dexterity saving throw.
Can I try too? Okay.
He rolled a 6. He's not very. Yep. You're able to grab him by the collar as he's trying to like make his way off, and he goes, "Oh, okay, fine. Listen, Mr. Ogreman, man, or are you? I don't know. You're green. Edgar's not exactly like. I'm not exactly well liked around here. I'm not sure that being in my presence is necessarily a good thing."
Seems like bringing people to save the city might help your reputation.
Might hurt ours.
Maybe. Maybe.
What have you done?
Nothing.
Are you the reason that the wolf talking people are here?
No, I don't know nothing about that.
Are there actually any talking wolf people?
Yes. I ain't lying. I just don't want to be here. Fine, come on. It ain't gonna go good. And he leads you through town to, there is a center of town here with a bunch of docks. Giant like wooden gangway that leads towards towards the fishing docks that are currently frozen over in the red waters. I'll move everybody over there. I don't know what is going on with Melissa's character, Stoken. With Ordella, you're like leaning. But
I
Mark,
rolled.
no, you're fine. Just your character's like leaning funny. Markin comes over and he knocks on the door. When he does, a stout-looking woman, female human woman, about middle-aged with an eye patch over her eyes, wearing furs, opens it up, looks at you all, looks at Markin, and she spits on the ground and she says, "And what in the name of Thrune do you want?"
I understand you have a wolf problem.
Yeah. There's wolves. huge wolves all over the place.
Does
All
it
kind of-
talk?
I understand these are special wolves.
Yeah, that's what Idjit's been saying.
Okay, well, then we'll leave you to it if you don't need help.
Do what you want. Markin looks over and goes, "No, wait, they's gonna help Syl and Feneth." And she says, "They's already dead." And Markin looks over and says, "You know they've been holding up for food. They've been. Tell them truth." And she looks over at you and says, "Yeah, they talk. I don't know what to make of it. Some sort of wizard cast some damn spell on them or something. So, yeah. And Mr. Merkin here thinks that we should give them our food or send out people to go looking for help. I tell you what, I think. I ain't got enough food for my people in this town not to be giving none of it to wolves for 2 kids already dead." He looks up and goes, "They my cousins. They ain't dead. Syl knows how to handle herself. And Feneth, well, she take care of him. They ain't dead. You just giving up on them." She
Have they
says,
seen anyone else?
he looks over and says, What about Jacus?" He says, "Yeah, maybe. They won't let nobody leave." She says, and she looks over and says, "Well, I can't offer you nothing, but if you're here to help, I guess you have some of our gratitudes." And kind of spits on the ground a little bit. And Markin looks over at you all and says, please, guys, there's my cousins." Edgar looks over and says, "Yeah, well, times are tough when people die. That's just how it is. You do better to learn that soon, Markin. We don't need no help from outsiders." What do you say?
I look at Merkin and say, it doesn't look like you're getting any help from insiders either.
Ooh, smack! And somebody, a passerby, sort of chimes up and says, "Yeah, Mark is right. Them wolves as big as horses." And they say, "Well, this town barely got enough food to feed itself. Them wolves, they saying they're gonna kill anybody tries to leave." And Edgar just sort of like looks at you all and spits on the ground again and goes, "I told you all we can handle this ourselves."
Sounds like you're being herded like cattle.
Oh,
And,
where are the
um,
horse wolves?
She goes back inside and slams the door to the speaker's house.
I'm gonna reach out and grab at her as well while she leaves.
Roll a dexterity check.
Can I give guidance?
You can. Yeah, she rolls a 3. I don't think you're going to need guidance here, unless you crit fail it.
So you have it for 10 minutes.
Yeah. You grab her by the fur. You've got her. She
Excuse me,
spins
1
around.
minute.
She spins around and looks straight at you and says, "We've seen adventurers here before. Last group of adventurers came through. That was when all this mess started. What help are you bringing?" She says, "They came through vowing to take out, take down big game in this part of the world. They came through Dugan's Hole not 2 or 3 10 days ago. That's when all this stuff started, when outsiders came in. And you know who brought them in here? You know who led them in here?
Merkin.
Yeah, damn right.
Good job.
He goes, and he looks over and he says, they was chasing down a threat. They had to do what they's doing. They was hunting this evil giant that has been prowling these parts, and they tracked him round here. And I showed them into town and told them which ways they could go. And then she chimes up as you've got her by the scruff and says, yeah. And that's when them wolves showed up and locked everybody here in town and started taking our food and taking our people when we brought outsiders into town. And here you are, Markin, bringing in another damn set of outsiders. What the hell trouble are you going to cause now?
We're not
Get out of let go of. And she looks over at you. She says, "Let go of me, or I swear to the gods, I will bring a posse of 100 men down on you, and I will string you up and post your head on a spike at the center of this town. Let go of me."
I'm just going to lift a little bit.
She says, "All I have to do is whistle, and 50 men will come out here with spears. You might kill a few of us, but I swear to the gods, they will run a spike from your anus up to your head."
It seems to me like if you can't provide them much food, they're going to ram you in the Dugan's Hole.
Markin looks over and goes, "Yeah, that's right." Roll intimidation.
Yes.
She blinks a little bit as you sort of like make clear the predicament, and she says, "All right, fine. You can stay."
Besides, from what you're saying, they're not going to let us leave anyway, so you're stuck with us.
She sort of looks around and says, "Well, somehow someone got out, didn't they?" And looks over at Mark, and he sort of looks down and goes, "I can be crafty." And she says, she sort of like looks, she kind of has a defeated, almost sort of intimidated by you look, and says, "All right now, there ain't no need. I'm sorry. Times is tough, and it gets to me." You drop her.
We're here to help.
We ain't got nowhere to stay, but Markin, you put them up where's ever. Markin says, "You want them wolves? All you got to do is try to leave. They'll find you. I guarantee it."
Do you have men who could help?
I was bluffing. Pretty good bluff, huh? I could spare a couple, but to be honest, food is running low. We not exactly the adventuring type. I've not been giving her a good woman voice, but I think she's been pretty good.
Pretty good Dugan Hole voice.
That's about, normal for Walker County.
Yeah. 2 packs a day for 30 years. I think you're right on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's been spoken too much. She looks over at you and says, "I can't spare no man."
I can't spare no bed.
I like the way you talk.
I like the way you talk.
You talk pretty. You
All
got
these fancy men coming in.
You sure do have a pretty tusk.
actually, while y'all are doing that, somebody in the back is like looking over Leonard to see if there's anything he can steal off of Leonard. You got a robot.
Pipe.
So Leonard has an appetite for wolf, so
yeah,
I'm ready to roll.
All right, so what are you guys doing? Are you all just gonna explore around town? Markin says, "Listen, I tell you what, I'll come with you. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I feel like some of this is my fault. I did bring that adventuring party into town who was chasing that giant guy, and listen, they called themselves the Magnificent Three. I thought that it wouldn't. Anyways, I'm gonna head back to my abode. I don't have a place for y'all to stay. I live with my sister. I stay in the barn. But just meet me back here in, I don't know, 30 minutes. I'll do whatever you want. Edgar looks over at you all and says, well, good luck, and closes the door. And Markin sort of makes his way off a bit.
Once he's out of earshot, I say, okay, so do we just want to just go ahead and get this thing done? I'm not sure how much help he's really going to be. I think he may have fulfilled his usefulness in getting us here and making our introductions here.
He has exhausted his utility.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe we go wolf hunting.
Leonard is hungry for the wolf.
Hungry for the wolf.
We'll say, I think we, and then he'll correct himself and say, I have gotten enough people killed lately. I agree.
All right. So what are you guys doing around town? Are y'all just walking around town till you sort of attract attention, or what are you doing?
Walking
I mean,
right
I
back.
feel like we try to leave.
Yeah. Walking right back out the way we came.
Yeah.
All right.
Dude.
Start heading back out the road, just out the way you came. You'd sort of snuck in a back way, but there's a main road that you're sort of able to follow through town. And I'll take you to the Dugan's Hole scene. As you are walking around town.
Now, that being said, we're going to walk paying attention to the surroundings, expecting.
Yeah, we're trying to trigger a random encounter.
Yes.
Expecting shenanigans.
So you're stepping, you're stepping on every trapdoor, every pedal. You're like, attention,
No,
attention.
But we are very much paying attention to our surroundings and not.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm not gonna make anybody roll for this then. You see in the distance a very, very large canid type creature approaching down the road, and it is obviously limping with one leg sort of tucked up on itself and sort of hobbling down the road with a limp towards you all. And it is getting closer and closer and closer. And as it gets closer to you, limping on one leg, it looks over at all of you and says, you see actually another wolf a little bit further back in the distance. And the wolf opens its mouth and speaks at you all. And it says, to the other wolf, since you were paying attention, it seems to be trying to stay out of sight. It sort of is back behind some trees and is kind of out of sight. But since you were all paying attention and looking around, you can sort of pick it out and notice it. And this wolf looks at you all and says, "Ah, finally, help. At last you've arrived. Please, these local folk they're fearful, but you all look like stout adventuring sorts. You might get help." And he says, "We've come back to town. My master Granji for the last time has abused me and my brother. He's kidnapped 2 townfolk, holding them prisoner in his lodge. We are tired of said abuse.
Do I believe them?
Roll
I
me
think
perception.
I think we're all probably wondering the same question.
Roll me perception. Toot. Okay. Now, Toot, roll me an insight check. Okay. Toot, as you're sort of staring at the wolf that's speaking, he sort of moves towards you. The one thing you notice is that he occasionally seems to forget which leg he's limping on and like switches to another leg.
I will say, what is a lost lycanthrope called? Aware, and I'll cast Vicious Mockery.
Okay. He's got to make a wisdom save.
He does.
He rolls a 16. So
Okay.
he saves. He says, he looks over and says, at you all, and says, "We're tired of Granji's abuse. He's holding those 2 young children prisoner. He's kicked me for the last time. We'll help you free them."
You can't even remember which leg to limp on, sir.
And when you say that, the other wolf pounces out of the shadows and bares his fangs at all of you. And he says, "Well, it's awfully cold in that lodge. They won't suffer much longer. It's only a matter of time for Grudge eats them anyways." And the 2 of them immediately turn and bolt off, gallop offwards into the distance. Leaving quite obvious tracks in the snow.
Fine. Leonard votes to follow because there might be some kids.
Or follow.
Okay. Everybody's following wolf
Let's follow.
tracks.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's spring this trap.
while we are doing this, can I sort of ready an action? Just
What's your ready to action?
so I have Breath of the Dragon.
Yeah.
That I can use sort of as a unarmed strike. What I'm sort of readying is I've got one hand on one of those spears that I just picked up. And my intention is to basically blow the breath of the dragon and sort of light one of the spears on fire when we come upon the trap that I think we all know is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. I'm going to go ahead and summon my Eldritch Cannon : flamethrower.
Got a flamethrower.
Got a flamethrower.
All right. You guys follow the tracks out of town, and it crosses what looks like this just awful tundra. Like you're heading what you would judge to be southward, sort of away from the lake, out into the distance. And I'll show you sort of the direction you're headed. You're here at Dugan's Hole, and you're heading southward towards the 10 trail somewhere out into here, in just like the middle of absolute nowhere. And you've been following it for quite a while, and we need to roll a luck check. And Markin's not with you because you didn't get Markin. Bye, Markin. As you're sort of crossing this terrible tundra out into the middle of nowhere, following wolf tracks, the weather starts to turn quite foul. It is gray and cold and storming. And it appears that another like blizzard is besieging upon you all.
So I think Toot will reach up to his hat and cast light on his hat.
Okay. You've got
Just
your
to
hat.
use it as a beacon, yeah.
Yeah, your hat is aglow. What's everybody else doing as Toot has lit up his hat as? It appears that a blizzard is coming upon you.
I'm taking a rope and tying it to Toot, so I
Okay.
stay close.
Yeah, you're able to set up a rope to tie around Toot as you're sort of making your way through the snow. It is just getting real cold, and I need everybody to roll survival checks.
For exhaustion 1, am I still at disadvantage?
Exhaustion level 1, yes.
Okay.
I think so. Okay. Yatara, you're the only one. The cold is really beginning to affect you. Everybody else is pretty okay, has been able to bundle themselves up and like make it through this, but you're particularly find yourself particularly shaking cold, and think to yourself, if you don't find some way to get warm, you know, that you might suffer some problems.
So, Jeff, since I'm sort of next to him,
Yeah.
Do I see him sort of starting to shake?
Yeah, you can see that he's seems to be shaking, and like the cold is starting to get to him.
Can I pull one of the skins that I've got on me?
Yeah.
Give it to him.
Yeah, you're able to do that and wrap him up. It's enough to warm him up such that, you know, he's not like at full disadvantage yet, but
Remember, I'm a space heater.
yeah, but don't you only produce like 90 degrees?
95 degrees in a
It's better than like
what?
negative
10
something.
foot radius.
Is it 10-foot radius?
Let me see.
Depends on what your radius is for your.
Features and traits. Well, I can't tell where.
It's in the Icewind Dale book. I'll look at it real fast. Hang on. It's one of the magic items in Icewind Dale. It's the
Thermal cube. That's what it's called.
yeah, thermal cube. Hang on. 15
Couldn't
feet.
remember what it's called.
15 feet. 3-inch cube of solid brimstone generates enough dry heat to keep the temperature within it at 95 degrees at all times. So yeah, as long as he stays huddled up to you, you're able to basically shrug off the terrible cold. Since
I feel bad using that. It feels broken, but
you're using one of your entire things to be able to do it. And since you still have to be able to see and follow the tracks without getting lost. And this is a group survival check, so most of you passed it. It was greater than 50% passed, so you were able to follow the tracks. It takes you about a half a day before you're able to do that, though, to get to the end of the tracks. And when you finally get there, it's getting dark, and you see a really disturbing looking sight before you. Let me see if I've got a picture of it. I'm going to try to show you. Hold on. I think I do. I know I do. Somewhere here. Here we go. This is what you see. Across the tundra. This thing. And I'll describe it to you. Jutting up out of the vast tundra is a towering edifice built entirely of ice. The domed structure is easily 3 times the height and width of any building that you've seen in the 10 towns. It is cold and dark, and the tracks lead directly towards this edifice sticking up out of the frozen tundra. I will take you to the outside of it. As soon as I find it. There it is. These wolves are not here right now. And you're outside of the structure on the ice. There appears to be, as you saw in the picture, what looks like 3 entrances. Oh, and I meant to show you, I have photos of things that you have encountered. Here are the wolves that you saw with their bright blue eyes. And in your journal, you'll find the crag cat that you'd seen previously. So yeah, 3 main entrances into this thing. It's cold and dark. What do you all do?
So it looks completely dark inside?
As far as you can tell, it's dark.
Hmm.
At least from where you're standing, you'd have to get closer to see if there's any form of light. 3 entrances on the outside of it.
Anyone want a Leroy Jenkins?
What is your feeling, Granite Guts, as you're sort of looking this over?
My feeling is that I would sort of prefer not to go into an area that is just completely in darkness, and so I'm trying to decide whether to use my channel divinity to sort of help remedy that yet, but I don't think the time is quite right. But I do think, though, that we should tread carefully to begin with, and maybe I will get a little bit closer and sort of move up and try to get a better look at the inside and peer in.
I'm gonna stay with Granite Guts. I don't think anybody should be going anywhere by themselves.
Yeah, same. If somebody's going, I'm going.
Okay, which entrance are you peering into? Top one, middle one, or bottom one?
The top entrance.
Okay. As you sort of go up to that top entrance, how close are you going to approach to it? You are currently like 40 feet from it.
Yes. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Yep, 40.
Inside it's dark. You don't see anything. You can see that it goes further in and then appears to sort of like wrap around. The entire building is just colossal in size. Like, it is strikingly large. Like, the ceilings are strikingly high.
Are there any inscriptions on the outside of the building?
None that you can see.
Since I have dark vision and I'm also naturally impatient, I'm going to walk up very close to the top entrance and investigate.
As you walk up to the top entrance, you can move your token up there. Yatara, it's always good to have the wizard go in first. just for like D&D like strategy. But Yatara, you get up towards the front, and the thing that strikes you as you get up there is there's this like sour stench of what smells like decay, sort of like enters your nose as you get near there. And you can see that the walls of this structure, they're just colossal in size. Like they are bigger than like would be necessary for any human. Like, well, they're like 90 feet tall. And you just smell decay. But you don't see anything. No inscriptions, no art, nothing like that. You hear nothing. If you want to investigate further, you can roll perception or something. I think I've given you about all you can get.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. It's definitely the smell of decay, something dead. It's
Just look
powerful.
back.
It's a powerful smell. So like whatever it is that's dead, it's big. Like you've seen dead things before, certainly in this world, like dead rabbits and dead squirrels, and they wouldn't have a smell that's like knocks you back from a building this big, this far away. Whatever it is big dead.
At that point, I look back at the rest of the group and I just point and go, "There's something dead in here," and walk back towards the rest of the group.
Okay.
All right. I'll walk to the doorway.
Okay.
It's
quiet. Leonard, your sensors detect the smell of decaying tissue.
All right. I'm slowly inching in, hoping that other people are going to follow.
I'm gonna go
but-
with him.
I'll go
Okay.
with him too.
Yeah, just move your tokens wherever you're going.
Okay.
I'll describe what you see as you move yourself along. Terror
gonna-
is
I'm
part of
gonna-
this. I hope
as
you
we're-
all are.
as
I
we're
hope you all
doing
are
this-
fearing. I hope you all are feeling the suspense and terror of this kind of.
So as we're doing this, I'm readying my breath of the dragon in case it's
Yeah.
needed.
Or Della, are you going to? And to. Yep. Leonard, as you round the corner, what you see is the frozen corpse of a whale that has been crudely butchered. Lying beside it is a blade in the shape of a paring knife the size of a longsword.
I'm going to convey that information back to the rest of the group.
This is a decaying whale carcass.
Am I supposed to be able to see anything, Jeff?
Yeah, you should.
Because I'm
let me
like
make
right
sure.
here and I can't see anything.
Let me make sure you've got vision. Hang on. You might not, because it's you should. Oh wait, here we go. That's why. You should see now.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
If anybody doesn't have dark vision that has dark vision. Yeah, decaying whale carcass.
All right. Jeff, I'm going to position my flamethrower cannon right here,
Mm-hmm.
like at the leading edge of the whale.
Yeah.
And angle it this way.
Yeah.
And then proceed into the room.
Okay. There's nothing in the room that you can see but this carcass. Are you examining the carcass? Or like looking at it, or what are you?
No.
Okay.
It does not look appetizing. It is not good mead. Leonard has no interest.
Yeah, so Toot should have light on his hat. So it should be 20 feet of bright and then 20 feet of dim light.
Okay.
Toot does not have dark vision.
20 feet, and then how much of low light? 20 feet of bright light, and how much of low light?
20.
20 feet. You should be emitting it now. So your lit up hat is doing its thing.
Yep.
Yeah. as you're all in here, everyone roll perception.
Can I guide myself?
Of course you can. Yutaro, are you still in the room? You sort of,
Yeah,
your character sort of
think-
jumped.
Yeah, something. Hold on, something.
Yikes.
I can't drag myself for some reason. It's going all crazy.
Here, I'll put you back in the room if you want.
Thanks.
Toot, you and Leonard, the two of you hear just this like sound for just like a half second. Like it's just like a that Toot, with your 20 perception, you would judge to be, if I said like animal, vegetable, mineral, you would judge animal.
It was actually a 24 with.
Even
the-
better.
Okay.
An even better animal.
Yeah.
All right.
You just heard some sort of
Yeah, I'll point in that direction and I'll look around at everybody else and mouth the word animal.
yeah, the walls in here are just enormous. And as you sort of make your way around, Leonard, you find what looks like butchering tools around there.
Okay, I'm gonna peek out around this corner.
Leonard, as you peek around the corner, you see massive chairs. There's this huge table across the way that's like hewn out of a single block of ice, and it stands in this like cold, dead chamber. And there are chairs that are sort of sitting around it.
Eldritch Cannon goes to here. And Leonard will creep up.
Okay, Leonard, before you move any further, hold tight.
Yep.
Okay.
Leonard
so you s-
Jenkins.
You see the this huge table. Immediately to your south, Leonard,
Yep.
you see a large creature that roll nature for me, Leonard. I don't know
I
that
don't
you've
think I
ever
know
seen.
what it is.
I don't think you know what it is. This big. It's a big furry animal that is to the south, and it is sitting there. And roll perception, Leonard. There is a throne in this room that it looks like it is made out of ice, like solid ice. And the walls are glittering with ice, and it almost resembles like a sepulcher. There is what looks like the frozen, hacked up corpse of a giant humanoid that is sort of slumped over on the ground next to this throne. Hacked like half to pieces and clearly dead. And the giant furry thing is sort of kneeling down next to it.
Oh, great. It's Hachiko. Love it.
What do you do, Leonard?
I'm going to move back to here and let everybody else know that there's
Roll stealth.
Oh, yeah.
One moment.
A big, furry, like Leonard doesn't know many animals, so it's bigger than a dog. It is very furry, and it has two horns coming out of its face.
Yeah. And Leonard, as you sort of move back into the room, you hear a sound and the sounds of stirring. And
Okay,
then-
Jeff. The Eldritch Cannon, which is right here.
You set it right here?
Yeah.
Like you set it away from, is this like a tripod?
Yeah,
it
moves.
You've got a drone?
It's a drone, basically.
You have a drone with a cannon on it?
Yeah. So the cannon drone is going to sit like right here and aim down the hallway.
Yeah.
And the cannon drone, or I am readying a bonus action for the cannon drone.
The big furry thing, you're not looking. Can the drone see? Do you have vision through it?
That's a great question. I would imagine no, because that sounds too powerful.
So did you just set it to fire at anything that moves?
Hang on, let me see how I...
Yeah, I don't know how this mechanic works, so you'll just tell me real quick.
So once you create a cannon, you can't do so again. It can, I'm gonna have to look it up. Let's assume that it can't do that. Because that sounds
This
too
is
much.
Eldritch Cannon.
Yes.
Let me just real quick, because I don't want to screw you over. I want to make sure this is right. Occupies a tiny space. It's tiny. One can be held in one hand. You create a cannon. Okay, I think you just... All right, you can do this, but you have to tell the readied action on what action it's going to fire on. So you're saying, you can't see it. You just have to, if you're readying an action for when you can't see, you have to say like, okay, what is the trigger? Tell me now, what is the trigger?
The trigger is gonna be, so I heard the snort.
Yep.
Okay. Then I'm gonna communicate to the drone to wait 6 seconds and then fire its 15-foot cone of fire like this way.
Okay. Go ahead. Is that a attack roll or is it a saving throw?
It is a 2d8. It's a dex save, DC 13.
Okay. As this happens, you go around the corner and say, "Hey guys, I heard a big something," and all of a sudden, your Eldritch Cannon just unleashes a volley of flame, and it crit succeeds.
Okay, he still takes half damage. So
All
he
right.
takes 5 fire damage.
5 fire damage. And then all of a sudden, it is entirely clear there is no doubt that something is rounding about, blasts around the corner at all of you, and now everyone can see this giant elephant-like creature with huge tusks looks down at all of you, and it has absolute hate and fury in his eyes, and it opens its mouth and it says, You are all responsible for this. I'll grind you to death. Everybody roll initiative. And since it is 9:53, when we return next week, we will be rolling initiative.
Well,
All right. I will not waste my core initiative roll on this combat then.
Yeah, you'll get to roll initiative when we get back.
all right, fine.
We'll pretend the 7 didn't happen.
You can re-roll when we get back.
All right.
And we will return next week on Icewind Dale Rime with the Frostmaiden, where this creature is blaming you. You're all responsible for this. And that's where we find ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I didn't know this bigger than a dog that's furry with horns coming out of its face could talk.
Yep. Seems to be
Yeah, why
able
didn't you
to.
tell us about that? Gee.
Yeah, I should have been able to perceive that from a distance.
Did you try talking to it?
No.
You just have
No,
the
he looks like he'd carry on a good conversation.
just have the talking ability.
No, the robot, the drone, does not have the talking ability.
Well, he evidently blames you for something. You did see
Oh.
the body of the giant humanoid, which, do you know what a giant is?
It's
Does
like
Leonard-
I saw a really big man.
Does
Like-
Leonard know giants?
Let me
This
see. I
was
don't
bigger
think
than the
so.
Verbeeg, the
No,
thing that it was
I
dead on the
know-
ground.
My languages are deep speech and primordial.
Right, but have you ever heard, you've probably heard legends of giants and things.
Maybe.
This is definitely a giant man that was dead on the ground that this thing was next to.
That's a giant man.
And
Alright.
it blames you.
All right, Toot. Hit it with the promo.
If you like what you see, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and slam that bell notification button. Also, this episode brought to you by Jeff Foxworthy.
Unofficially.
Unofficially, yes.
I hope you guys had a good time. And we'll see
Yes.
we'll see everybody next week, where I hope the horror of the situation has felt very real creeping into this creepy place.
I like it.
It's a creepy joint.
Like it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Good night, everybody. We will see you all next week.
Night, y'all.
Good
All right.
idea.
Night.